Hi guys. Something occurred to me not so long ago that I haven't really covered, talked about my diagnosis. Being diagnosed with CFS and ME is very difficult. I knew I knew what it was before my doctor diagnosed. Even then, he didn't even diagnose me. I was constantly, because I was working at the time, and it was a good job. I actually enjoyed going to work. I was at a place where I enjoyed work. When you have a job like that, you don't want to let it go, but I ended up having to. But yeah, I ended up going to the doctor constantly. I'd make an appointment and they'd give me an appointment to see the same doctor every single time. And every single time I'd go in and I would say, I'm constantly tired. I can't cope with this anymore. I live on energy drinks. I mean, I used to get cases of it. You get like the little drink, the little cans, not like the big ones. The little ones. Get like 24 in a crate. And I used to go shopping at Farm Foods, and used to be able to get 3 crates for £15. Oh God! Rosie, pack it up. Pack it up. Hey. Pack it up. You just have to play up now, don't you? Hey, come away from the window. That's it. Sorry about that. But Rosie likes to bark at anything and everything that goes past the window. Someone just has to walk past our gate and she's off on one. But she's a little sod for it. She can stay here now. No, shut up. No, where was I? Oh yeah. Used to do 3 of them crates, 3 crates of 24 cans for £15, and I used to go through them in a month. Oh, for God's sake! Right, Rosie, get off the window. Get off the window. And Coco, enough. That's enough. Oh, they have to play up when I'm recording, don't they? So anyway, yeah, I used to go through. Ugh, bloody dog. But yeah, I used to go through 3 crates of them a month, just to keep me going, because I had no other way of keeping me going. I had no explanation for these symptoms I was having. So there's the binman come for the green bins. That's what she's barking at. You can stay here, Rosie. Oh, so yeah, I was going through all those. I'm just going to give up and start again, because these two are not cooperating. Pack it up, Coco. Oh, God, it's worse than having kids. Oh, you can look like that at me all you want. You may be cute, but you're very much a pain in my back end. Yes, Joe. Yes. Yes. You need to pack it up. Oh. Bloody hell. So yeah, I was telling the doctors, I told my doctor I was getting by on, I was living on energy drinks, because I just can't, it was the only way I could get any energy into me. at the time I was doing Slimming World, and because I was drinking the sugar-free ones, they were sin-free. But I have since found out that obviously sugar-free drinks are worse for you than normal drinks. So, but I'll talk about all that kind of stuff in another video. But you know, I just couldn't shake it. I mean, I was working 20 to 30 hours a week, you know, and I was going to the gym. I was, you know, I'd walk everywhere, you know, and I would just, you know, just living a normal life. Single parents. Right, Rosie, you're not sitting by the window. Come sit with me. That's it, good girl. You know, and you know, I explained this to him, and he says, "Well, you seem to be living a healthy lifestyle, so I don't see how you can be tired all the time." Seriously? So I kept saying, you know, I kept going back with complaints, and I said, "Look, you know, I suspect chronic fatigue syndrome, or you know, or an ME and that, but you know, I just need some help. I need something." And I just begged, and he just went, "Fine, I will refer you to the CFS ME clinic." So he was really, really huffy about it, and you know, it took me so long just to get him to send me there. So technically, he didn't diagnose me. He fobbed me on to someone else, basically. I think it was just more of a tactic to get me out of his hair. I think he was just more like, God, I just got to do something to get rid of her. I'll just send her here just to shut her up. I think that's what it more was. Anyway, I got an appointment through to see someone for an assessment, and by this time, I think I was still working. I can't remember. No, I wasn't. I'd ended up being really poorly by this point, and I couldn't function properly, and I ended up being signed off work by this point. And I went to see this. I saw this lovely lady called Anne at this place down in North Highcombe, and she read through the notes the doctor sent me, and apparently he did. Anne showed me what the doctor had put. He put chronic fatigue syndrome, then he put a question mark at the end of it, as if he was doubting me. And she turned around and says, "I don't know why he's put question mark, because you've got a classic case of it. So why he's putting question mark, I do not know." Now, between being referred and actually getting the appointment, I did do some research, and the research I found, you know, my research uncovered that some doctors do not believe that CFS and ME exists. They do not believe it exists. They believe it, you know, it's the yuppie flu or whatever, you know. They don't believe it exists. They think it's all in the mind. It's not a real diagnosis. That's what a lot of doctors believe. So, and now I'm like thinking, maybe that's what he is. I mean, he seems to me, this particular doctor seems to be quite old-fashioned in the way he does things. He does things, you know, that, you know, the way he's been trained, and he just, it's like he doesn't, it's like he, you know, it's like the world's moving on, everything, you know, and people are moving on, but he seems to be stuck back in the 80s or whatever. it doesn't seem that he's actually keeping up with the times, basically. So, needless to say, I've not been back to see that particular doctor. So when I need to make an appointment, I always see a different doctor at my surgery. There's two particular doctors I like to see, so I'll see either one of them. But yeah, there are medical professions who do not believe that CFS and ME exist. So, which is why it is so difficult to get a diagnosis. Now, my advice to people would be, keep going. If you know, speaking to people that have, you know, CFS and ME, majority of them, you know, they've actually, you know, they self-diagnosed before the doctor would do anything, you know, because they want to eliminate this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I know what it is, you know. I've been poked and prodded. I've been sent for all kinds of different tests and blood tests and God knows what. You know, I've been, you know, I've been sent for all kinds of things. I've had, you know, I mean, in the past, I would go to my doctor. Obviously, when I was younger, it was a different doctor, and every time I went to the doctor about about fatigue, they'd test me for diabetes. No, you're not got diabetes, off you go. And they wouldn't investigate it anymore. So looking back, I've actually been, you know, I've actually been suffering with mild CFS for the majority of my life without even realising it. So, and it's only in the last couple of years that my body's, and I don't know why my ME has gotten worse. It's because I pushed myself too much. I was burning all candles at all ends, and my body just went, no, gone, and I, you know, didn't want to operate properly. So I know exactly why, you know, but it's going to take years. You know, I want to be able to heal myself, but I know it's going to take a while. It's no quick fix, but I want to be able to get to a point where I can actually work again. That's my plans, but I know it's going to take probably about 2, 3, 4 years. It's going to take years for me to get my body healthy again. But in the meantime, I just have to take each day as it comes. But yeah, I do believe that I have had a mild case of CFS for a long time, for many, many years. Because like I say, every time I went to the doctor complaining of fatigue, they were like, well, we'll test you for diabetes. Diabetes test come back, so negative. No, nothing wrong with you. Off you go. And you know, it's that kind of attitude from doctors which has made me, you know, even worse. It's, you know, doctors need to, I think they need to, you know, kind of like boost their training. You know, it's all right getting you, you know, spending all these years getting you, you know, getting your qualifications, becoming a doctor, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, there's always new research coming out. There's always new things, you know, there's always something new coming out in the medical field. And it always seems to be that, you know, people like me find out about it before the doctors even do. The doctors know nothing about it. I've read the whole research papers and the doctors know nothing about it. It's like, well, you know, they don't. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was one of a friend of mine from my ME group. I think, I can't remember who it was, but they said that it takes on average, so I think they said 17 years for a doctor to, was it 7? Oh, I can't remember. ME moment, just another ME moment. But it's either 7 or 17 years before, anyway, that it takes many, many years for doctors to actually catch up with research that comes out, which I think is a bit, that is actually quite terrifying. You know, 1 or 2 years maybe, but any more than that, it's quite disturbing that they don't. And also the fact that, the doctors don't keep up with this research. There's all kinds of research going on, and oh, and all these invisible illnesses and invisible disabilities that are, people are becoming more, there's more and more cases of it. And I do believe it is to do with modern lifestyle. Our bodies weren't built to cope with this modern living and that. But you'd have thought that with more and more cases of these conditions and that doctors would get a bit clued up on it. But who am I to judge? I'm not a doctor. I'm only the patient. I'm only the one that has to suffer, like many other ME patients. And it bothers me. It bothers me that my doctor was so. He was like I was irritating him. I felt like I was irritating him, and I felt like I shouldn't have been there. I felt like I was wasting my time all the time. But he just wouldn't. I don't know. But it is very difficult to get a diagnosis. Things like MS. You can have there are ways to diagnose that. You have a brain scan. You have blood tests, and there's all kinds of ways of diagnosing it. Fibromyalgia. There's a physical examination that will diagnose fibro, and and then it comes to ME, and nobody has come up with anything. And it's and people, a lot of people probably think that ME patients put it on. They don't. Believe me, it is something that very much exists. I don't care what all these doctors say. It is not in my head. It is very real. The pain is very real. The headaches are very real. The fatigue is very real. Sometimes I'm so fatigued, I can't even get out of bed. I can't even lift my legs to get out of bed. And I struggle. There are days when I struggle to do anything. And doctors just don't see that. Doctors don't see what we have to go through. There are also, there are some really nice doctors who will help, who do obviously believe in it and all that. But it's the doctors that don't believe that CFS and ME exists. They're the doctors that I do worry about. It's not yuppie flu or whatever. That's what it was in the 80s. It was called yuppie flu in the 80s. So no, I don't have yuppie flu. No, it's it does get to me. It does annoy me that people think that ME is all in the head. It's not in my head. Believe me, if it was in my head, I would, I would probably be working. I won't be the way I am now. Depending on other people to help me, depending on my daughter to help me out. Well, if she can be bothered, But hey, what can I do? The medical field is a minefield, and like I say, getting diagnosed with ME is probably one of the most difficult things I've had to do. I knew what it was before I was diagnosed, but my doctor wouldn't. So it's it is something that a lot of patients have to come up against, and they shouldn't have to come up against it. They shouldn't have to come up against doctors who, you know, who don't believe you. You know, you shouldn't have to come up against that. You know, they should know, you know, they should listen to the patients and not just fob them off with more pills. You know, I'm on so many tablets at the moment, and it's ridiculous. But you know, that's the way of the world. I mean, there's always new research coming out about ME and theories. I mean, I've read one theory about how ME is like the body going into hibernation, and I'm thinking, I don't quite get that one, because in that case, my body's been going into hibernation for God knows how many years. So I don't believe that for a second. So but there is always new research coming out, and I just wish that my doctors would take notice. I just wish doctors in general would take notice that ME is not in the head. It needs, you know, they need to take it seriously. The medical field need to take ME seriously, which they don't. They take all other conditions seriously, but not ME, and that infuriates me. But I thought I'd get that off my chest and let you guys know, you know, what it's like just to get a diagnosis. You know, you get diagnosed with all sorts of other different things before you get diagnosed with that. It was the same when with my IBS. I had a lot of digestive problems. Now, I was in the space of 6 months. My doctor at the time had diagnosed me with in the space of 6 months I'd had stomach infection, kidney infection, intestinal blockage, this infection, that. I had so many like different infections, and I was always on antibiotics in the space of 6 weeks. And I just went 6 months, and I was just like, oh, for God's sake, I just need to see a different doctor. So I decided to ask to see a female doctor, and that, you know, and I spoke to her about it, and I said, you know, I'm just getting fed up of being on tablets all the time, on antibiotics all the time. It's ridiculous. So she was like, but that was when I was diagnosed with IBS. So, you know, it helps when there's, and that was before Alicia was born, so probably going back about 14-15 years now. So, but yeah, it'd be about 14-15 years now since I was diagnosed with that. So, you know, it just takes for one doctor to listen, one doctor just to listen to their patients, listen to what they've got to say. And, you know, and that's all it takes. Just one doctor to listen to you. When you find that doctor, don't let them go. Don't leave them, you know. But yeah, ME, like I say, you know, ME is very difficult to diagnose apparently, but I knew what it was, you know, weeks before I was given the official diagnosis. But, you know, what do I know? I'm only the patient. I don't know anything. I'm just, you know, just a patient. Anyway, I just thought I'd get that off my chest and just let you know what it's like. And I need to get on because I've got to go and take the dogs to the groomers. So I've got to get myself sorted. So it's 11 o'clock. So I've got to get myself sorted, get a bit of housework done. Obviously, got to get dressed because I'm still in my onesie. So give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Subscribe, share my channel, share my videos. Let's get the message out there that ME does exist. ME is not in the head. It does exist. Let's get it out there. Okay, thank you, and I shall probably catch you later. Bye.